welcome back. Little update on the RS100. I have driven it just around the yard. It starts and runs. So since the last video, a few different updates. Made this aluminum Kickstarter just out of a block of aluminum or a plate of aluminum. The old one was a big steel thing. It didn't quite fit the bike properly. My knee rested against it when I was riding. This one is a little shorter and tucks down out of the way. I made the rear sets, both the foot pegs. This one folds and has a magnet in the top here, so that when I'm kickstarting it, I don't have to worry about snagging my foot on the rear peg. I upgraded to a YZ85 inlet boot, which kicks the carb a little bit off to the side, which allows me to actually run like the pre-filter on the uni and stuff. Before it was basically in line with this frame spar, and I could not get it kicked over any further, so this actually kicks it over a bunch. The other thing that it does is the stuffer inside of it is a bit thicker, so it actually fills in the reed block a bit better. I did have to Dremel a bunch out of the sides of it to make it fit in, but it was pretty easy to do. Just a sanding drum on a Dremel bit. A few other things I have done. So I've also finished the exhaust. I still have one tiny little pinhole I gotta fix in there. It's weeping a little bit of sludge. Added a Pro Circuit spring to retain the exhaust onto the header pipe, and gave it a quick spray of clear coat, but I'm gonna have to strip some of that off to weld it. And over on the shifter side, I was gonna make a linkage setup, and I just realized that I was adding complexity and possibly weight for no real reason. The shifter can actually just be run backwards, which makes it GP shift, but it's probably going to be lighter than adding in a bunch of linkages and rods and all kinds of stuff. And the foot position is quite good, so I just need to get a new rubber nub for the shifter, and that seems to fit quite well. So I modified a Vertigo side stand that I got off a Vertigo Trials bike. Just added a little lug to the bottom of it, and then welded on a tab onto the frame here that will mount it. So it's kind of got like a front stand instead of a rear stand. It tucks up very nicely. So a couple things I still have left as well. I want to try and find a new old stock replacement taillight lens. This one's really scuffed, has a little bit of a crack in it here. I want to get a shorter front brake hose. This one loops out quite a bit. I just like to get one that's nice and tidy and much more direct. And hopefully I'm going to 3D print a fill plate for this that actually has a quad lock mount on it, so I can lock my phone in position here. And then I'll have a Speedo, because I don't actually want to run like a mounted Speedo just for cleanliness. And yeah, it's just, I always have my phone on me, so, and plus GPS ones are much more accurate. And I still have to make a mount for this. I've been putting it off for a while. I also need to get a new piece of hose. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but the hose is actually like weeping brake fluid, which is interesting. But I think it's time now to flash this thing up, heat cycle it a few times, and possibly just take it for a very quick jaunt down the road. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. Motor ran pretty good for guessing the jetting. Seemed like the clutch started slipping, but maybe that was something else. Once it tried climbing up onto the pipe, it seemed like it was actually slipping, like accelerations. It's actually kind of slowed down. Could just be that I used this old shitty clutch that's used. If that's, I'll probably pick up some new frictions and throw those in there. Also noticed that the front brake bled down a bit while I was riding. Just kind of as it got hot, it seemed to lose a bit of pressure. So probably put new pads on that, bleed the brakes, grab the new front line. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way that it is. I mean, I have a few little things to modify and get going, but it seems like it's actually going to make an okay amount of power. I was kind of concerned that it would be really luggy, but like you'd have to rev it quite a bit to get it to go anywhere. But it's actually not that bad. You can actually lug the motor down low and it actually makes an okay amount of power. So for all, I think first test ride on this thing was a pretty smashing success. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll be able to get a few nice longer riding videos in on this thing. It sounds really nice when you're on it. It makes all the right noises. So yeah, take her for a couple of drives and work some more of the bugs out of it. But that's it for this time. Till next time, take care.